Hello and welcome to VERGE 21. I'm Shana Rappaport, Senior Vice President and Executive Director of VERGE, and I have the pleasure of serving as your host here on the main stage over the course of the next 4 days. I'm coming to you today from the coast of Bolinas, California, just north of San Francisco, a place once stewarded by the Miwok peoples indigenous to this land, and on the grounds of Commonweal, a center founded in the 1970s and most well known for its cancer programs, designed to help people face the fear and anxiety that come with a terminal diagnosis. You might be surprised that I would choose to open VERGE from a place where endings and loss are so central. VERGE is, after all, anchored in solutions, in the vision of an ecologically thriving, socially just world. But consider the devastation and loss we've experienced just since VERGE last year. The fires that continue to blaze across California, the floods in Germany and China, the extinction of irreplaceable species, the forever altered landscapes of places that we love, and of course the loss of lives and livelihoods, the decimation of entire communities and cultures, the mass migrations already taking place that foreshadow what's to come. The realities of a climate-changed world are challenging us to engage with grief and loss in ways that could lead even the most optimistic among us to a place of hopelessness and despair. And that is why, before we dive into solutions, I want to offer an invitation, which is that whatever you're feeling about the state of the world, whether it's grief and anxiety, excitement and opportunity, or perhaps a confounding mix of it all, well, it's all welcome here. In fact, allowing grief to move us may be exactly what's needed of us now. This year, I learned that lesson in a particularly hard way. My mother, Maya, dedicated her life to environmental stewardship and became a leader of the movement before it was even a thing. She spent the last 13 years living with Alzheimer's, and in late May, I got a call from her doctor saying that the time had come to put her in hospice. For much of the last decade, I tried everything to save her, finding the best doctors, changing her diet, anything. But her disease progressed, and Alzheimer's is, of course, a terminal diagnosis. When I found myself at her bedside in late June, her death only days away, something unexpected happened in me. Yeah, all the fixing energy just dropped away. And what emerged was this calm, expansive capacity to simply be present, even in the face of such tremendous grief. I sang to her and held her lovingly in my arms, well beyond the moment she took her final breath. There's no experience in the world like losing your mother. I've sobbed, I've screamed, I've felt an indescribable emptiness in my chest. And yet, that expansive presence that I found within myself hasn't left. And I've come to believe that it's a capacity we're all being called into in this time, especially those of us experiencing grief as we work to address the climate crisis. While it may seem that letting in that fear, grief, or anxiety might crush your ambition, all I can say is that for me, it's not at all what's happened. Instead, I find myself living and working with a new level of openness and vulnerability to the joys and sorrows of the world. Yeah, I've always been a relentless optimist, only now I find myself learning how to acknowledge all that we're losing without losing sight of the world that we're here to build. I also know that my journey with grief is one that many people have walked before. It's why I'm here at Commonweal, where thousands of people have come to transform their fear into power. And it's why in 2021, after everything we've all been through these last few years, I chose to stand here and to share my story with you. And so I'll offer the invitation once more. Whatever you're feeling about the state of the world, whether it's grief and anxiety, excitement and opportunity, or a confounding mix of it all, it's all welcome here. As we come together for Verge this week, we are here to realize a bold and beautiful vision. The vision of a generous and prosperous world where we harness the power of human ingenuity, technology, and community to address the existential challenges before us. Over the course of the next 4 days, you'll have the opportunity to get informed and inspired, to go deep into the burgeoning climate tech movement and clean economy markets, which map to our 5 concurrent conferences focused on energy, mobility, food, carbon, and infrastructure. Our keynote program brings you some of the most inspiring leaders that we know at the forefront of this change. Government officials like Secretary Pete Buttigieg and Deputy Director Shalonda Baker. Climate tech pioneers like Andrew Beebe and Chris Sacca. Youth leaders like Jerome Foster and Shia Bastida. And climate psychologists like Renee Lertzman and Margaret Klein-Salomon, who will have a lot more to say about the power of facing our reality. And you'll do all of this while engaging with a remarkable community. Thousands of people coming together this week from around the world, representing a huge diversity of industries, sectors, and communities. On that note, please make the most of your experience at Verge and connect with those new potential partners, customers, and allies that you're here to find. Use the networking feature, join our booth sessions, and if you haven't yet introduced yourself in the chat, please do. I urge you to use the chat throughout the week to let folks know not just who you are and who you represent, but your asks and your offers. We're in this together, and no one of us, individual, company, or industry, can do it alone. Indeed, we're standing at the edge of a threshold, and crossing through thresholds demands both courage and trust in what's emerging. To paraphrase Joanna Macy, the renowned environmental activist and champion of embracing climate grief, we don't know what story will unfold. Whether it will be the great unraveling of life on Earth as we know it, or the great turning into a more life-sustaining economy and society. What we do know is that we need to keep our hearts open, to keep showing up again and again, and to act boldly in service of the beautiful future that we're here to create. After all, if we can move one another, we can, together, move the world.
Move me beyond mountains, sow the seeds of whispered life, breaking through the graveled history to the world we know is right. Move me, Mother, move me, teach my heart to open wide. Move me, Mother, move me, so we sing, so we're alive. Move me, Mother, move me. 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 Move me, move me. Move me, Mother, move me. So we sing, so we're alive. When our fields are lying fallow, and the seeds of discontent have been planted in our minds. What we see is what we get. So we stand and ask for move me, mother, move me, move me, mother, move me, move me, mother, move me.